Hi guys, I'm back. Okay, so I've been reading through the first book. I read the whole thing. And I know there's a lot of questions about the characters and things that happen in the second book. So I'm going to do that next. I'm going to take notes all the way through so that I don't miss anything. I think that's the easiest way so that I'm not leaving big holes. Although I have anticipated at this point, I'm going to remember things down the road and end up uh, doing flashbacks and stuff as I remember things as I go too. I did a lot of drugs, obviously, as you all know, and I do have kind of some holes in my memory, and sometimes it takes a little bit of prompting to get them to fill back in again. Okay. Um, so I want to talk a little bit about high school and the things I was doing. This is kind of going to be a two-parter because there are kind of a bunch of things that do and don't line up, and I want to get to them all and kind of make some valid points here. So, um, I will basically the Avenue. The Avenue was mentioned more than once in the book, and the Avenue was an absolutely real thing. We called it the Avenue. Is where we hung out to smoke. I was in a brand new high school. Galena High was the first. I was the first class to go all the way from freshman all the way through senior and graduate. So it was a brand new school, just opened. The first year, the Avenue was um, almost on campus. It was just right across where the buses pull through. And as the years progressed, they were like, "Well, we're going to make our own rules as we go." And of course, we trampled on those rules because that's what teenagers do. And so those rules were adapted as the years went by, and they pushed it out further and further. Right. But that's where we went to smoke on all our breaks, before school, after school, whenever we possibly could. Um, Again, I have some notes here to refer to, so if I'm looking away, I'm trying to remember everything. Um, but again, keeping in mind that as far as actual meth use, um, when I was in high school, it was just a here and there thing. I actually did not get really, really bad until just after I graduated. So again, I will get to that along the timeline goes. And I think again, she shrunk back the timeline a bit because my behaviors were as she described for sure. And I was drinking a lot, smoking a lot of pot, doing acid. I dropped acid several times. Um, Although I did not take ecstasy until I was an actual adult either. So just so you know. Um, but the first in my freshman year in high school, I was just kind of getting to know everyone, getting used to the Avenue, and um, making my name. Again, nobody really knew who I was because I was a nerd and I was behind the scenes up until that time. Um, so uh, that year, I was growing into my own. I was getting my own confidence. I was also learning what kids did and did not like, and then just following the scene so that I fit in really well. Um, the My sophomore year is when I started to really slip. My grades, again, they were like on all A's and B's the first semester, but the second semester I tanked. I stopped turning in my homework. My grades dropped to D's. One of them said it was an F, but it was not. And actually, one of the D's on the report card was actually a B minus, and we had to get that fixed later. But there were still three D's on there, so two of them still count. Um, However, I did get it together pretty quickly after that. Now, the summer after that year, as you can imagine, I was as grounded as you could possibly get. I wasn't allowed TV, video games, telephone, anything. So I made that summer my own. That was me and Cash's big summer together. We actually he picked me up almost every single night. I think it was basically every night that summer, to the point where I would sneak out of the house and I would get back in with maybe an hour or two to sleep. My parents would wake us up early because, of course, I'm grounded. So there's lots of stuff to do around the house and summer activities that they want us to do, weeding the fruit trees. And I actually ended up putting a whole drip system in the fruit trees that year, just for something to do because they basically said, keep busy or we're going to find something worse for you. So um, that summer was still so much fun for me. I was kind of getting off on getting away with it also, as far as that goes. Now, when I first started sneaking out, um, I had one idea and then it kind of evolved into new ideas as I got caught. I only got caught about maybe three times, but each time was huge punishment, and I would get tired of being grounded and then I would think of a new way to get out. So The first plan was wait till they went to bed, sneak out of my room, creep down the hall, go downstairs, and go out the sliding glass door, which didn't make a lot of noise. Um, Now, I did mention that, again, in real life, I have an older gay brother and a younger sister who's 2.5 years younger than me. Well, she wanted to come with me all the time, and most of the time I had to let her come or she would tell on me. So, keeping in mind that she didn't get in anywhere near as much trouble as me because she didn't really get caught as much as me. There was one time she actually hid a nightgown in the doghouse outside, and as we were coming in, we realized someone was awake. So she ran out, threw it on, and then I was coming up the stairs, and she comes up behind me, and she's like, "Crystal, what's going on?" Rubbing her eyes. She's like, "I heard all the commotion. I ran outside to look for you, and then I realized you already came in the house." And I didn't tell on her. I don't know why I didn't. I wanted to, but again, the majority of the times, except for when we were caught red-handed at a party. Across the street and down the road a little bit. She really didn't get in trouble for that stuff. But I had to include her, and that didn't exactly make me popular for that, at least. But the kids wanted me to come, and so I was like, well, she's got to come too. So, anyways, that summer was a lot of fun. we did a lot of like outdoor partying. I can't remember what she called it, something flats in the book, but it was actually, we called it the American Flats, and it was like this rundown, abandoned old factory where there's spray paint on the walls, and people obviously practice Satanism there, which just made it feel cooler. But it was a dangerous place for us to be, and actually, since I've become an adult, I've learned that they actually shut the place all the way down, tore down the buildings and everything because they realized people were going there to party, finally, after however many years. So then there's that. Okay, so the now I want to clarify something. As far as the speed use that I did do in high school, it was snorting only. I did not graduate into the other forms until I was an adult and out on my own. But again, she had no way of knowing that, so she was just kind of winging it at that point. But I was scared to do it the other ways, and there's a stigma for each kind of way. So if you're hanging around people that only snort, they're like, "Oh, smokers are disgusting, and slammers are terrible." But then you start hanging out with people that smoke, and they're like, "Ew, snorting is nasty." It's the same. It's the same thing. So, you eventually learn to get past your own hangups and when you want to get more high, and that's what that was all about. So, and again, I will when the timeline progresses, I'll go into when those things occurred as well. But I also did want to mention something, a close friend of mine, and again, I don't really want to say who, although my friends growing up know who. The girl Robin that ended up being my friend, and we ended up getting high together and stuff. My mom didn't even know that Robin is a close friend of mine, and Cash's actual sister, spelled the same way. So again, I thought it was a weird kind of parallel and coincidence. Not that I ever got high with her. She was actually kind of the voice of reason. She was the smart one of the group. Now, she hung out with us and partied with us, but she was always someone who had her head screwed on straight. And I think she was always, whenever she was around, which again wasn't anywhere near as often as the rest of us, but when she was around, she was the one telling us we were being stupid when we were being stupid. But I just thought it was funny that the name popped up as someone's sister that I hung out with, and it was a different person, but the similarities are there. So again, I'm finding kind of some neat parallels. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention today is the fact that the Mexican mafia was a thing, but again, I did not get involved with them until a little bit later. In high school, I asked people to give me free drugs. You just bat your eyelashes a little bit, and someone was always bringing drugs or alcohol or whatever to the party, and I probably got lucky that not that many people had met at that point, because I probably would have been worse earlier on. But yeah, paying for it did not become an issue until a little bit later, and I absolutely did get involved with the Mexican mafia to help pay for it and to make it so it wasn't putting a dent in the side of me or whatever. But there's actually kind of a big old long story about how I put my life in danger with them. And I'm going to go over that again as the timeline progresses. So something to look forward to. It's funny now, but it wasn't funny then. So I don't know, you guys will probably be laughing and cringing at the same time when that one comes up. But one last thing I wanted to mention, and again, because this has to do with the actual high school experience, the brotherhood, the part in the party where I supposedly drank blood. Now, I did not drink blood. Okay, the way that came about is a close friend of ours, one of the friends that we hung out with every day, all the time, got in a really bad car accident. He got actually hit by a car while crossing a street, and he was put in the hospital. And us thinking like teenagers and thinking we were being just oh so clever and cool and whatever, we decided that we were going to form a blood brotherhood as a show of support for him, because we felt like if we all band together, then we could give him the strength to come back from his injuries. So we all cut our hands and we put our blood together, and then we had this big poster that we made for him, and we each put a slap of blood on the poster. And we decided that that bound us together forever. No matter what happened, we would always be friends because we're all blood brothers and sisters. There wasn't a lot of girls. I was one of only like one or two girls. But another point. The point is, we called it the brotherhood, and we did not drink each other's blood. Okay. Again, my mom caught a little bit of wind about that, and as rumors progressed through the grapevine, it got blown out of proportion. So that is actually what she thought I did, but that was not the actuality of the situation. Okay, that was kind of all in relative innocence. It was supposed to be to help a friend who did, by the way, come back from his injuries. He had a big streak of gray hair forever, and he went gray prematurely later on. But he did recover from his injuries, and we always felt like we helped him with our show of strength together. So, and again, that seems silly now, but sometimes when you have something to believe in, you offer strength that way, and I think maybe that had something to do with it. I mean, you never know. It's all about the universe and the way things line up, I guess. So that's a little bit more insight into growing up. Oh, I forgot, I got off on a tangent, and just to finish up. So after we got caught sneaking out down through the sliding glass door, and that was because my sister left her bedroom door cracked, and the dogs were in there, and they started whining, woke up my parents, and then they checked and saw she wasn't in the room, and then they checked my room. Okay, then they realized how we got out, so we had to think of a new plan. So the second plan was is tell them we're going to bed. Now, keeping in mind that we did this sometimes with them still awake on the couch, which it had its back to the hallway, but they were awake when we did some of this. I mean, we left the house when they were awake. One 4th of July, I remember. They were just too tired to go out, and we're all mad because they didn't want to do anything 4th of July. So we left while they were still awake and never got caught that night. But so the second tactic was, we say we're going to bed, and I would go down the hall, and I would open and shut my bedroom door. And then I would crawl down the hall silently. Now, keeping in mind, again, that my parents were not 10 feet away, half asleep in their lazy boys. And I would sneak down the hall to my sister's room because the door opened silently. And I went into her room, and we shut it, and then we waited them out. And then we went out her bedroom window because it was closer to, the front door was on, there was a balcony right there, and we were upstairs, but you could just skirt across maybe 3 feet of balcony and get over the ledge and then go down the front steps. And then we could get back in that way pretty easily too. I had to help her, but that's how we got out the second way around. Now the third way around, we had to do it a little bit differently because again we get caught because the dogs, we end up putting them in my room thinking it would be better, but then the dogs end up waking up my parents again, and they go in there and see me gone. Now, that time again, they did not realize Kelly was gone. So, um, they didn't have any idea how we got out or anything. I assumed that I went downstairs again. And that actually worked in our favor later because I had to start escaping from my room, which was a little bit more of a challenge. And because they put, they basically put things that made noise, so I couldn't get out my door at all. So the third way I got out actually endangered my life many times, and it didn't even occur to me. During the day, I went and found like a thin nylon rope, and because my bedroom window, the only thing under it was just the window just below it, and it was just the wooden trim as a ledge above it. So I had to literally turn my feet sideways out like that to get along it. I had to tie the rope to my bed. Now my bedroom window had a screen and my sister's didn't, which is another reason why we went that way first. So I kept the screen in there, but I popped it loose and flipped it outward. I got out the window and wrapped my hand around the rope, and then I flipped the screen back in and I stuffed my bed, of course, in case they peeked in there. And then I rappelled with the rope down the house. Now to get back in, and you guys are going to laugh at this one, which is why I wanted to finish up with the tactics. To get back in, now again, my sister went out her window the same way and went back up the same way. But to get back in myself, I had to take my pants off because they were too tight to actually get my legs up over my head. I had to stretch one foot up over my head to hit that top ledge. And I had to tie my pants around my waist. So I was literally scaling my house in a thong and like a pants cape, and then wrap my hand around the rope and do a complete up the wall split, put my toe up on that ledge and pull myself up, and then get back in the window. I had the rope and I left it tied to the bed, but I brought it in. I put it all the way under the bed and put the screen back, and that's how I got. And again, I got caught that way only one time, but I did it countless times, and I'm just really lucky to be alive in a lot of the stuff that I've done. But I thought you guys would get a kick out of that story, because if anyone had looked up in my house, which was way up on a hill, and really anyone could have seen me except for the time of the morning, they would have seen a white, almost bare butt just scaling the side of a house like a fool. So anyways, that's my time today, guys. I hope you had fun. I have a lot more to talk about, so I can't wait to see you tomorrow. All right, thanks, guys. Don't forget, like and subscribe, please. It seems like viewership is dropping a little bit, and I just want to get out there. I want to grow. I want to be exposed. And again, we're gonna open up when we get just a few more viewers and we get a little bit more contact. I want to maybe leave sessions open where someone else could tell a little bit about their life, about their story, about their addictions, maybe like once a week or something, just to switch it up a little bit, give somebody a voice, give people a chance to talk. Okay. All right. Thanks, guys. I'll see you soon.